The relevance of both physical and social infrastructure for socio-economic development has been extensively investigated over the last years, concluding that infrastructures are a crucial asset for socio-economic development of countries. In this lecture, we will learn to identify the key role that infrastructures have for socio-economic development and their importance for long-term sustainability. Infrastructure is critical to ensure basic human needs for food, water, energy, transportation, communication, education, and medical services. Physical infrastructures are telecommunication, energy, transport, water supply systems, while social infrastructures deal with health, education, banking, commercial services. Infrastructures are a crucial pillar for systemic innovation. They may be drivers of economic growth and development, enablers of technological progress to find the right balance to both economic and environmental challenges. Three key dimensions make infrastructure a key asset for prosperity. First, access to basic services, for example, water, sanitation, electricity. Second, increase of productivity as a macro-level impact. And third, access to goods, services and job opportunities as a micro-level impact. The link between infrastructure and sustainable development goals is manifest in the goal number 9, as the one addressing sustainable infrastructure as a means to achieve sustainable development. Furthermore, 8 targets explicitly refer to infrastructure, and other 27 targets are discussed in infrastructural terms. Access to basic services entails, among the other, the universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all, adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene, affordable, reliable and modern energy services, safe and affordable housing and basic services. At the macro level, infrastructure development can improve productivity, calling for those attributes such as safety and resilience that can support economic development and human well-being. Finally, the micro-level impact highlights a people-centered vision in the infrastructure development that in turn calls for fundamental goals of the Agenda 2030, inclusivity and equality. However, infrastructure development within the current production schemes may represent a big burden for additional greenhouse gases emission. Indeed, Paris Agreement indicates a net zero emissions energy system by the end of the century to limit the average global temperature rise well below 2 degrees Celsius. Therefore, long-lasting effects of infrastructure need to be considered in order to avoid the risk of technological lock-in to a set of configurations that are able to meet 2030 or 2050 targets but that are due to fail in achieving long-term goals. This is a challenge, considering that the average per capita carbon footprint of infrastructure in industrialized countries is 5 times larger than the one of developing countries, and that retrace old paradigms would add global greenhouse gas emission up to 60% of the remaining carbon budget at 2050 to avoid climate change. Infrastructures are a precondition that may trigger access to different pivotal services for fighting poverty. They help increasing the quality of life and boost local economy and entrepreneurship. Africa needs to bridge a large infrastructural gap compared to other world macro-regions. In particular, efforts should be devoted to develop NPR enabling infrastructure, having in mind that digital, energy and mobility infrastructure are the nerve, the lifeblood and the skeleton of modern societies and an asset for sustainable development.